right, our next guest is not your ordinary candidate running for Congress. On one hand, she's a public health researcher who is advocating for social, racial, economic, and environmental justice. But on the other hand, she was a former stripper, and she says that makes her uniquely qualified. Please welcome Alexandra Hunt. Welcome. So good to see you. Thank you for coming on here. Alexandra, can you talk to us about your decision to come out publicly with your past that so many in Congress we've seen and otherwise in politics have tried to hide? You've been very open about it.
Yes, well, I had two reasons for really being so forthcoming with my past. One is that I didn't want it to be dragged out of the closet and used against me and potentially derail our campaign as we built it. And the other reason was I was in community with sex workers, and when I told them that I was preparing to run for office, they said, please don't leave us behind. And I think to fall silent on a community is to be harmful. So I decided to lead with it. Wow. And here we are.
So, Alexandra, to put it frankly, what has the reaction been? And what has been the worst criticism that you've received personally?
Well, the reaction's been really mixed. There have been some people who really commend me for being brave and for stepping forward with such vulnerability and honesty. And then there has been an onslaught of disgusting commentary, honestly, through all different facets into the campaign. And I think the worst is really subjective. And so I would say that the worst thing I've heard is when I'm told that I can't be a good role model for young girls because of this piece of my past.
So, Alexandra, let me follow that up, because I always focus, I try to focus on the future. I write my goals out. I always try to be positive. How do you put your past behind you? Because everybody has a past, whether they like to admit it or not, and focus on your goals in the future.
Well, I think that I'm doing that. I'm using it to move forward to the future that I want to be a part of, which is where sex workers are not shamed or criminalized for things that they are doing currently to make an honest living, or in their past to make an honest living.
Well said.
When you decided to come forward and share your story, obviously you knew there were going to be critics. So how do you respond to people who specifically feel that you shouldn't be in a position of power and influence because of your past?
I think that people have their own biases, and it's something that we need to push forward with. And that's been something I've been trying to do on this campaign trail. And it really, all I've done is work to pay my bills. And the decisions that I make of what sort of field I want to go into is not really anyone's business or place to judge. And on the campaign trail, we've been running a fully grassroots campaign. We're not taking any corporate money. So I think that there's really a double standard here of where people get their money from and how I'm criticized for making an honest living. But whereas someone like my opponent isn't criticized for taking corporate money and then catering to his corporate donors in Congress.
I like that. I like that answer.
Yeah, I felt like there needed to be a pause there. That was really outstanding. And, as I listen to this, it just seems so unfair that everything that is said about you, it starts with, she was a stripper. Like that's inconsequential to me, but I think what will really resonate with people is if they understood your story. So can you talk to us about where you come from, what made you decide to become a stripper, and more importantly, to run for office?
Well, I come from, both my parents were teachers. One of them still is, one of them is retired. And so I come from a family that's very much centered around education and young people growing into opportunity through education. And that was something that I always saw as part of my future, was attending college and then potentially higher education, because I'm a curious person and a forever learner. And the way that our education system is set up in this country, it's very expensive to pursue that. And I love my parents, and I'm so proud of them for giving their career to teaching. But that doesn't mean that they made a hefty income. And so I had to take out loans, and also had to figure out how to pay for housing and for food and for books on the side. And so in doing that, I started to look into ways that I could make good money while also being a full-time college student. And that was through stripping. So I decided to work at a strip club while I was in school.
And legal, may I remind everyone.
I just
legal.
want to say this. What does it say about your society where two teachers can't afford to send their kid to college? Interesting.
Well said, Al. Now, if any voters in Philadelphia are watching, first of all, hi, thank you for watching, but we really want to give this chance to give Alexandra the floor. So what is it you want to say to those voters, your constituents or future constituents? Go ahead.
I want them to know that we are deserving of representatives who show up for us and really fight for our needs. That's not what we currently have. We're not getting enough resources out of the government. And that's what this whole campaign is pushing for, is to get more resources into our district and into our city, because we need it and we deserve it. And that if you are living in the shadows, this is your call-in. And that we're fighting to pull you into the light. And I hope that you will join our campaign and either give a contribution or volunteer or vote for me on May 17th, and that we can build the future we want to see together.
Wow. Well said. I got to be honest, the DBL Nation's like, if I could vote for her, I would. So, guys, if you want more information and to give a donation.
And also what people can do if they're not in their district.
Exactly. What you can do, go ahead to huntforcongress.com, which is a really cool website in itself. You know what I mean? I just wanted to say that on the side. Thank you so much for being honest. I know you might not know this, but it's a bit of a pioneering thing that you're doing. It's breaking a wall down. And whether you believe it or not, it's a brave thing you're doing. So thank you for being on the show. And we really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Promotional